Hi, it's Nicole with Recovery from Narcissistic Abuse the Easy Way. I have a testimonial for you today that I hope inspires you to save a lot of time from searching and more time for recovery. I'd like to begin first with a short prayer. The Most High God, thank you. The Most High God, thank you for this fellowship, no matter how great or small. I pray that the words from my mouth are acceptable to you. I ask those who have ears to hear and that we touch on one accord. Amen. Okay, let's see. Let's start out with the sources that we have online to identify narcissism. And I think we could all agree that there are plenty out there that tell the telltale traits and characteristics of narcissism. So what then? You identify that someone in your circle meets the DSM characteristics, and then what? And then what? You either, one, you keep searching in disbelief because you just cannot believe that this person in your life is a narcissist. You think against all sound advice that you can fix the narcissist, or you don't trust the source, and the search for the answers continues in perpetuity. My advice to you is resist diagnosing others with narcissistic personality disorder because it's a waste of time, and I will explain that in a moment. My advice to you about identifying a narcissist is trust your instinct. God gave it to you for a good reason. I spent 40 years seeking answers to the relationship between myself and my mother. When I was about my son's age, he's now 8, I remember saying to my dad, "If you never told me that I was adopted, I would know that your wife was not my mother." The look on his face was of shock, but it wasn't of denial. Soon after, I would refer to her, my mother, only as my dad's wife, instead of mother, which eventually became prohibited in my parents' home. I remember feeling emboldened when surrounded by people I trusted loved me. While visiting my grandmother's house and in front of my grandmother, my grandfather, my dad's aunts, uncles, etc., I screamed at the top of my lungs to my mother, "You are a bitch." As you can imagine, you could hear a pin drop. My grandmother stopped dead in her tracks. She who cared for a sick bird back to health, not the scared, angry child who now stood before her. She gently ushered me off to somewhere private, and instead of scolding or yelling at me, she asked with such great concern, "What does she do to you?" This, in a nutshell, is how you can best identify a narcissist or any other evil in your life. I'd like you to ask yourself if you have fluid relationships with most other people in your life, say the occasional disagreement. Are the majority of your relationships anchored in peace, love, and reciprocity? Closest confidants, like my grandmother, a listening ear in times of need? Are they a comfort, a true confidant? If you answer yes, these are examples of healthy relationships. If you find yourself distressed about a particular relationship more than others, and you find it hard to put your finger on why that relationship is problematic, or you find yourself searching for answers to no end, search no more and trust your instinct. I identified my mother was a narcissist at the age of 8. Actually, younger. I can recall at the age of 8. There were telltale signs throughout my childhood, my young adulthood, and my adulthood. I looked to everyone, including my dad, to validate my feelings, or moreover, validate that something indeed was wrong with my mother. All I got were excuses by the people who claimed to love me, likely because they couldn't deal with the repercussions of acknowledging that my mother was as batshit crazy as I said she was. It wasn't until my 40s, when my mother was in and out of rehabilitation homes, that a psychologist pulled me aside and in confidentiality said to me, "I need to say something to you, but I'd like you to keep it between you and I. It has to remain confidential. I'm a psychologist. However, here, I am a social worker, and it is not my place to diagnose patients. But she stated, quote, "Your mother has so many untreated mental disorders. Narcissist, Narcissism is the least of your worries." And she went on to say, "There is no hope." It was a watershed moment for both of us. I thought to myself finally, after all these years, it's not me. She is the devil. The psychologist went on to comment about what a beautiful and kind son I have and said, "Please keep your son as far away from her as you can." She said, "My heart breaks for you. You are such a kind person." And she wept tears, and I looked for her a tissue. Yeah, let that last part sink in. She said, "I should be looking for you a tissue." And we laughed. My advice to you, beloved, is to trust your instinct. Trust yourself. Don't go on a witch hunt of searching or blaming, because it won't amount to anything. Never apologize for trusting your instinct. Your mind can play tricks on you, and your feelings can betray you, but the soul never lies. When you begin to focus on the messenger, that is your instinct, you will to overcome any evil in your life and claim victory over it. I hope this helped to shed some light and give you direction. Until next time, beloved, stay on purpose.